Welcome along to the only Super League post-game phone-in that you are going to find on YouTube tonight. Why should Rugby League be any less than football? You can go everywhere online and find phone-ins around the oval ball. What an absolute load of nonsense that is. The only game worth talking about in this country is Rugby League, and we need to do our part in growing this great game of Rugby League. We hope that you're going to stick around with us for half an hour or so, and we are going to be bringing people on screen. So in the chat on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook or any of the other platforms, on YouTube, in the chat, we will continue to post the link. If you click the link, follow the instructions, and you could be live on the screen with me talking about Leigh, Castleford, whatever it is that you want to talk about. But it's only right and it's only appropriate to all the Be The Roarers out there that we give them a big congratulations this evening. They are now officially in playoffs 2026, and it shouldn't be underestimated. Since returning to the Super League, boy, haven't they done well when it comes to those playoff places. Some, dare I say, more traditional playoff teams, Super League teams, can't hold a candle to them, can they? They're not getting in the playoffs this year. Even the Primrose and Blue. Anyway, there you go. That's another story, isn't it? A comprehensive win expected this evening, 46 points to 6. I mean, look, you know you're having a bad night if you Castleford Tigers when Alex Tutavaki, sorry, get me teeth in. Alex Tutavaki goes in for a brace. I mean, you know, you certainly been on the wrong end of it there, but a very, very assured win this from the Leigh Leopards. And like I say, we're going to be bringing Leigh Leopards fans on. If you're a Castleford Tigers fan, you get yourselves involved, you come on as well. But I think it's only right and it's only appropriate that we give the first shout out of the night, and the first person on screen is going to be a Leopards fan. It is going to be Heather. There she is. Hello, Heather. How are you? You okay?
Ole, 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 ole. Come on, Leigh.
There you go. Outstanding. Great to see you, mate. In the playoffs, third year in a row. You must be over the moon.
Absolutely. I mean, we knew it was going to happen. We knew we'd get in there, but I think it's just a relief now. We can kind of crack on with these last few games, and wherever we end up, but we're in that top 6, so.
Yeah, obviously, you've got a guaranteed 2 points at the Halliwell Jones next week as well. For those who don't watch Super League Raw, it says a lot that I can have a go at my own team, so don't start don't start saying I'm a Leigher and all that nonsense. But you know what? That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Steph Sale in the chat. He's been at the LSV tonight. Highest points Leigh have ever got in Super League history, Heather.
Yeah. Wow. It's just amazing. I mean, what is it? In the last 3 years, 3 years in the playoffs. Will we go higher than 5th again this year? We'll wait and see. But whatever happens, it's another achievement. It's another record broken. So just got to get behind the boys, haven't we, and keep going with them.
Absolutely. No doubt about that whatsoever. I mean, look, when you consider where you were 4, 5, 6 years ago as a club, could you have ever envisaged that you are now, to be fair, a team that most people would expect to be in the top 6 year after year, such has been your growth?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, you know me, I don't do all this technical stuff. That's not my vibe when I'm doing these conversations.
Just talk from the heart, Heather. Talk from the heart.
Definitely from the heart. But no, didn't think we'd see ourselves, especially, 3 years on the trot. But here we are, and what an achievement. That's all I can say is what an achievement.
Fantastic. And are you going to be toasting it with a bit of bubbly? Are you toasting it with a bit of alcohol?
No, I'm working tomorrow, so I've got the brew.
Fair play to you, mate. Fair play to you. Well, look, carry on watching the show. You are officially our first ever phone-in guest. So many congratulations, Heather. We'll catch up with you in not too distant future. But if you just take yourself off now, watch on YouTube so we can free up some lines for other people. That would be great. You look after yourself, and we will see you soon. Right, let's get our next guest on, who's dialed in to Super League Raw, the phone-in, and it's Billy Ingram, otherwise known as 18th Man on Tour. Hello there, Billy lad. Did you watch tonight's game? What did you make of it?
I did, Dave. Thanks very much for having me on, first of all. I do appreciate it. I did watch tonight's game. It was, Leigh were absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Lockie Lamb is something else. And I think you guys were saying I think it was Round Unpacked, he's not got the plaudits he's deserved this season. And I think because a lot of the noise has been around sort of Jake Connor, Mikey Lewis and the English halves, he's not got the credit, but he was outstanding tonight. Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, he was very, very good. Another 3 assists for Lockie Lamb. That takes him to 38 for the season. I mean, on that basis, I mean, nobody's talking Lockie for Man of Steel, nobody. But his stats are right up there in terms of try creations this year.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, when you think about it, we spoke a few years ago, if I remember rightly, was it Ben Barber who got 40 tries in the season? Well, making nearly 40 tries, we've still got rounds left to go. That is some achievement in and of itself. I mean, I think I've spoke to you about this as well, Dave, before, about it being. I think that there should be a Man of Steel, which is done in the format that it's done, but I also think there should be a Player of the Year voted for how it used to be. And I do think Lockie Lamb would be up there if you were asking the players who they thought had been one of the best players this season. I do actually want to just come in on Cass a little bit too. I thought Cass were nowhere near Leigh tonight in terms of skill, but I don't think they lacked effort in a lot of areas. I think a lot of them young lads were trying the best. And I think that the reset that's going to come in with Ryan Carr and Chris Chester, I do think is going to do Castleford a lot of good. But I think there are some little gems there in some of the young lads that just need some experience around them to really mould them.
Yeah, and of course, Chris Chester in his post-match, if people watching didn't catch that, he did say he's looking forward to next season. Of course, he said that these players, the existing players, they're very much playing for their futures at Castleford. Another announcement is on the way as well. They're saying that there's going to be another signing announcement tomorrow. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, Lockie's done well. He's got 38 try assists now. Not the 46 that Luke Gale got in 2016, but he's surpassed Jackson Hastings, the great season of 2019, when he got 36. And I think that really tells you just how good Lockie Lamb has been. Right, mate, great to have you on. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully you'll be on Final Whistle this week. And, well, it's only right and it's only appropriate we bring in a Tigers fan. So here he comes. It's our friend Simo, who's seen his side go down yet again. Matey,
how are you?
Over to you. What did you make of your team tonight, mate?
I'm not going to swear on your platform, Dave.
No, don't do that.
We were rubbish tonight, mate. I'm not surprised. I've called it. We're not going to win again for the rest of the season. Congratulations to Leigh. I think they could only play what's in front of them. One thing I will say, though, is he's looking at the stats from a Leigh perspective. I know that the fruit ball about, but to finish with a completion rate of 66%, I think that they'll try to toughen that up in weeks to come when they're playing better opposition.
Yeah, but we see that, don't we? I mean, sometimes it doesn't pay off. We see sides sometimes. I won't go as far as to say disrespect, but when a side like Leigh, who are expected to be in the playoffs, come up against a lower side like Castleford, sometimes they just take the shackles off a bit. Sometimes that can catch teams out. I would expect that against, dare I say it, playoff opposition, that Leigh would maybe not be chancing their arm as much.
I completely agree with that. I think one thing that Leigh, same again, I think that they'll be a bit upset is that they didn't finish game off. I think that they could have quite easily put 50 on Cass and probably nilled us. So, yeah, I think that, like you said, Dave, I think against better opposition, that they'd have probably not thrown it about and there wouldn't have been as many errors from Leigh perspective. Yeah, it were poor to see Tom Amone go off, but obviously I think it could be a bit of a blessing in disguise long term for Castleford because Chester could put young Akeem Matajev in next couple of weeks and give more games to more game time to Sam Hall and other fringe players with an eye on next year. So it might not all be bad for Castleford.
And to be fair, parallels to Warrington there. I mean, the fact you say that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Tom Amone, what's the point? He's going to KR next year. Perhaps he shouldn't have played this game. They're not really playing for anything, are they, at this moment in time, Castleford Tigers? So to blood a bit of youth, like we're expecting Sam Burgess to do tomorrow night at Salford, if you can't do it now when you know that the season's gone, you certainly can't do it next season when hopefully you are going to be trying your best to compete for those top 6 places.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Chester's alluded to that in last several weeks, that the last 4 or 5 games of the season, he used Hull FC as a prime example of he would play players that were in his plans for next season. So, yeah, like your Tom Amones and your George Griffins that are not going to be around the squad next season, then obviously I'd rather much see fringe players like young Alfie Lindsay playing on wing, and like I said, Akeem Matajev, and obviously Jensen Windley failed his HIA, and I'd like to have seen Jensen Windley partner Dejan Arce now Tex Oil back tonight. But back to Tom Mamone, I think he obviously he'll have a good pre-season with OKR in off-season, and I think he'll come firing next year for OKR. There's definitely a player there, but I think since he's come back to UK, he's been a shadow of his Leigh self.
I mean, you've seen him at closer quarters every game live in the stadium. I mean, there's no doubt about it for me. At the moment, version 2, Tom Mamone, is not as impressive as version 1. We're about to see version 3 in the KR side next season. But I think even KR fans would have to say they'd want to see a better Tom Mamone. It's not quite worked out for him, has it, at Castleford this year? He's not played badly, but he's not reached the peaks of what he did at Leigh Leopards.
No, he's not. I think a lot of it is down to probably fitness. I think obviously he's went over with Canterbury Bulldogs, and obviously he didn't get in and around the NRL top 30, so he was then playing Queensland Cup or reserve grade, whatever it was over there. And then I think, like I said, I don't know if he's been carrying a few niggles. Obviously, he's got injured tonight, so you never know. He might not have been fully fit for the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, to be fair, even a half-fit Tom Mamone still probably get best cast forward by a mile, because we've not really got that. We've been struggling all season for that pack leader to take forward, basically.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of yourself and the Castleford Tigers, we've got to look positively to next year. Blake Taft signed post Final Whistle podcast this week. Your thoughts on Blake coming in? You must be excited about that.
Yeah, he's a good player. And I don't think Chris Chester meant to apply so much pressure onto him, but he did actually link him towards Bevan French, saying that obviously he plays fullback and halfback could quite easily switch between positions. And then, as Chester said it, I think even Chester regretted saying it, to be honest with you. But yeah, he looks a good player. I mean, that's second player that we've got confirmed coming in. We've got young Brock Greerchen, I think that's how you say it, coming in next year. And I believe there'll be another 6 or 7 more signings at least to come in. And I know that obviously Catalan have announced 13 departures today. I think Castleford will be very similar in terms of departures leaving club come end of season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We wish Castleford Tigers nothing but the best. I know you've got to get to bed, big man. So thank you very much indeed for coming on. Absolutely appreciate your time, mate. See you soon. And now, all the way from the wonderful country that is Canada, Paul Fail from Vancouver. He's dialed in. Hey, Paul, how are you, sir?
I'm good, mate. Good to talk to you. Almost face-to-face, and next week it will be face-to-face. I'll be at the Bluebell with you, mate.
Yeah, look forward to that, mate. So you've been watching from Canada there in Vancouver. You must be a very proud Leigh for this evening to be in the playoffs for the 3rd year running.
I'm a really happy later. I know that at the start of the season, I remember some concerns from myself a little bit, but also from Steph as well, that we weren't quite at the quality where we were the season before. But Lammy's managed to get them really well together. Last couple of weeks has been a bit of a blip, but we look like we're getting back to it. Tonight looked really good. Really, really cool to see Robbie Mulhern getting back to his close to his best after a couple of weeks coming back from injury and not quite looking on it. Brad Dwyer looked great. He's not played most of the season, although he's been playing in the reserves. But last week and then certainly this week, lots of minutes and looked really, really sparky. Tua Tavake, best game I've seen him play. And he just looks that little bit trimmer and fitter and stronger, and he's certainly running better lines. Big positive to me tonight was Aaron Penne. He's a big unit. He's not quite played his size previously, and then a really long injury and a back injury, which can really be close to a season-ending injury. And he's come back just at the right time and looked really on fire tonight. And then Frankie Holton looked back to his best as well. He's another one that had that bit of a longer-term layoff and didn't quite look right like he was at that 100% over the last few weeks, but looked great.
Yeah, I mean, look, from your perspective, do you believe that once you get into the playoffs that you're capable of getting all the way to OT? You're confident that the squad is good enough?
I'm confident the squad is good enough. Key injuries for any team is going to be a challenge, certainly for us. I'd like to see a Pappy just look like he's back too close to 100%. He's definitely carrying a couple of little niggles that we know has been mentioned previously. Tonight he looked a little bit more on it. He was running from half back, which he hasn't been doing, and he was more into contact. And we always look better when he's on the field and on his game. And we need that hooker combination. I like Ben McNamara. I think he's going to be a great player in the future, but he's not quite there yet. And we just look a little bit better with Dwyer on the field. And I know Cass really aren't that top six side, although I thought they put a ton of effort in tonight. But Dwyer just looks that little step ahead as a 9. McNamara's got that more flexibility, but we can get some bodies back. I don't think we see Dwyer dropping out of the team again, especially once you see O'Neill, Trout, and Joffa back in. I think even Hughes and Davis are going to be fighting for the positions. Now Tua Tavaki really does seem to have stepped up finally.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Dwyer, he's a 9, out and out 9. He's been there, done it. He's played his whole career there. The only thing for me with Dwyer, of course, representing Warrington as well. The only thing with Dwyer is there are times when Dwyer tries to do too much on his own. You know, he can be a bit of an individual at times, and I think that's held him back in his career. And I think when you get into playoff rugby league, very seldom does one man win get somebody to a grand final or win a grand final. That's your name's Bevan French, maybe, but he's certainly no Bevan French. So I think that'd be my only concern as a Leiffer, that Brad will need to be well managed, coached, and given a clear directive in terms of his responsibility from dummy half.
That is a great point, because he can be off the cuff, and sometimes that can be great. And when you've got a team that's really on it, off the cuff can really work, because as you know, that if somebody sees that change of direction, that one little look, that one little wink, they go with it. But what we really, really need, like you say, in the playoffs, for us to be really successful in those playoffs, we've got to complete, and we've got to make the most of our chances. We missed a few tonight, although we were kind of playing a little looser at times, but it looked like they were really enjoying themselves. But yeah, I think that could be the only question against Dwyer right now moving into the playoffs. But I see him after the last 2 weeks keeping his spot next week, and possibly into the future as well, because you look at the challenge, he gets challenges from either McNamara or Davies. I think he's shown the last couple of weeks, although the opposition hasn't been the top of the line, without wanting to be disrespectful to Salford and Cass. He just looked like he could be really on it, and it's just like you say, just reining in those moments when the structure's there, the player's on, but he then suddenly decides to do something different. But I see him moving forward. I think Lammy's seeing him as a possibility in the playoffs, and I think on his day he could really, really help, and really kind of keep that momentum going once Edwin moves away from 9, either going to 13 or going off for a rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's watching, if you want to come on, by all means, come on. If you're watching on YouTube, I continue to post the link. All you need to do is press that link. You will then follow the instructions on screen. You'll come into the back area here, and I will bring you on. If you want to come on. The only caveat here at Super League Raw, we like the kids. We like the kids to watch our programs. So no bad language. And what I would say to you is, if you're watching this on any of the other social media platforms, share it. Nobody is doing a post-game phone-in anywhere in rugby league. Super League Raw. Tell the community, tell your clubs. We'll be doing this for all teams. Make sure that you come and come and have your say. Come and have your say, just like those people who watch the round ball do. What are you making your teams? Tonight, of course, we're talking very much Castleford Tigers and the Leigh Leopards. But yeah, keep your eyes on what we're doing. We're growing all the time. We're giving you some great new shows. This is the first of many that are coming for next season as well. More interaction, more opinions from around the game, like Paul's here, which is very, very welcome. Gareth O'Brien also picked up 2 assists tonight. Again, an unsung hero. A lot of people where Gareth, because he's not a flashy player, but he gives you his all, and he's a very competent 6. Albeit, I do think that if you're going to go to the next level as Leigh Leopards, perhaps you do need somebody else to complement Lachlan Lamb in the long term?
It's an interesting point because you listen to Lammy talk about Gareth O'Brien. At one point this season, he called him a beast, and he doesn't look like a beast. He's not built like a beast, but I've never seen a player put more effort in than O'Brien. Many players put the same effort in, but he never lets the team down. He goes into tackles. He'll miss tackles like every player will, but he will never miss a tackle because he doesn't want to be in the tackle. It'll just be a missed tackle. His effort off the ball is always there. His positional play is great. I think he's a really good foil for Lamb because O'Brien's reliable. You know what he's going to do. You know where he's going to be, and he always is there and doing what you expect him to do, which lets Lammy be that little bit more creative and that little bit more interactive with the rest of the players around him, and a little bit more off the cuff sometimes as well. And I get a sense that Adrian Lamb really, really respects and trusts O'Brien. His kicking, some weeks in, some weeks out. Tonight it was bang on. But you know what you're going to get from him, and he's got such a great rugby brain, and he seems to be such an honest, genuine human being for the squad as well. But yeah, if you look at where we want to be, who knows whether we get there, but where we want to be, a reliable top two team and really fighting for honours. We maybe do need in the future one more piece of the puzzle, which would be a star six. But if you're looking to have a player next year that's going to be a reliable six and that adaptable player fullback and maybe slipping into a couple of other positions if really needed, what a great guy to have in your squad, and what a great reliable number six he's been this season. I think he's been outstanding, and has really a couple of times really fought through the pain barrier in the games and never let us down. So one of my favourite Leithers for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, incredible season. I mean, let's be fair, you've won the Battle of the Borough this year. Let's not forget, in terms of head-to-heads, you are you have one over the, you've got one over the enemy. I mean, Wakey Trinity fans, if you're watching, come on. What's it like? To be the premier side of that part of Yorkshire. You must be loving it this year, what's happening to Castleford Tigers. Castleford Tigers fans, are you like Simo? Are you optimistic for the future? What's your thoughts on your new coach? Again, if you want to come on. We'll be on for at least another 15 minutes. I will keep Paul. Don't speak to Paul much, so I'll keep him on for a bit until somebody else comes on, if anybody else comes on. But hopefully the word gets round. The only Super League phone-in. That is what we now are all about. Nobody's doing what Super League Raw is doing. We're going to keep banging the drum that this is the greatest game on earth, bringing the community of rugby league together. Like tonight, we've had Leopards, we've had a Leeds fan come on already, we've had a Cast fan. It's just what it's all about, and it absolutely wonderful. Paul, I just want to ask you a question. Go on, mate. Go on.
Just before you get to this question, I want to say something about Cass. First of all, Simo, I was on the chat with him earlier on. Watch the watch along. What a great guy. You would never know that he's watching from a Cass aspect as opposed to a Leigh aspect or a neutral aspect. He's such a realistic person as to the game that's happening in front of him. I'm bang up with him on something that I didn't see in the game as a Leither with my rose-tinted glasses on, my Leigh-coloured glasses on. Those stats, the percentages and the missed tackles, 24 missed tackles, and then Simo pointed those out and said, that's something that we'll need to improve, and it definitely will. I think the completion rate can easily improve, but those missed tackles, that's been a challenge for us, and we've got to be on top of that because 24 missed tackles, they're mainly weak first contact and slow line defense. We've got to improve that. But I thought Cass tonight put tons of effort in. They deserved a try. It was a bit off the cuff, but they certainly deserved that try. But doesn't Chris Chester look done for the season? He can just see him. He's looking ahead. I think they're going to have a great next season. I think they're going to have a great squad because Chris Chester just did miracles at Leigh with Lammy and the backing of Derek. And when he left, I was really disappointed, but I get why. And I think he's the right person for Cass. But you can just see he would just love to be now concentrating on next season with their new coach in place. And he's trying not to show that, but you can just read it in him. So I think Cass are going to have a great time. Sorry, I interrupted your question there, Dave.
That's fine. I mean, I totally agree where Chris Chester's concerned. I think nobody would doubt that he's very, very competent in that role. Our concerns all year has been, is he going to be allowed to do that role without any interference? That's the key element of it. I think Adrian Lamb Love that partnership with Chris Chester. I'd expect that the same would be said for Mr. Carr when he comes in. But like I say, will they be allowed to get on with the jobs without interference? It's going to be a slow process at Castleford. We'd all like to see them do very well. And Heather Bailey says, Paul, you need to be on more often over there in Canada. So you're having a fine. Is this your debut? This is your debut, isn't it?
It is my debut, as you say. Yes,
yeah,
David.
It is debut, mate. Yeah. So well done. What a way to do that. I mean, a player that I do want to talk to you about. I mean, and we mustn't forget he's 26 years of age. You know, spell on Love Island, but we won't talk about that. Keenan Brand. I mean, Keenan Brand, 21 appearances. That's his 21st appearance in Super League. He couldn't have envisaged that at the start of the season, and he's just under a try every other game. He's 10 out of the 21, but he has got an assist. So that would actually take, in terms of try scoring opportunities, whether that be assisting or scoring, takes him over the 50%, the 50% mark. How impressed have you been with Keenan Brand since the likes of Darnell McIntosh have got injured?
I'm really, really impressed. I've got him today. Was a great game for him. He can sometimes be slightly out of position in defense. He can sometimes just jump very slightly early. But again, I think that's a sign of 26 isn't very young, but when you look at his career, he's quite young in his top level career. You're bang on. I don't think he thought he was going to be 21 games in by now for this season. But what a 21 game season he's had so far. Again, another kid that he never fails to impress in the effort that he puts in. He is a real spark in that team. There's no doubt about it. I think he's learned a lot. If you watch his game, I think he's learned a lot from Josh Charnley. He's learned a lot from staying wider as opposed to coming inside now. He's certainly learned that finishing dive from Charnley. It looks very, very similar. Certainly tonight, it looked very, very similar. And he's learned a lot from the power that he runs in with the ball to return it and make extra meters before you transition to your forwards. Makes a massive difference. If you've got two wingers that are willing to do what Charnley does, ball in hand in your own 20, and really put that power in and take the hits, it makes such a difference. And he's really, really stepped up. And he's playing outside of one of his best mates. Apparently, him and Hanley have such a great friendship outside of the game. And you can see that. You can see the joy in those two in each other's performances. And you can just see a guy that is, again, ready to take that next step, which really bodes well for the season next season, because you look at what we really need. We do need a 6, probably. I think we need a really big bowling forward. We don't quite have that yet, unless Penny continues to progress. And if we have got Charnley, I'm strongly in favour of Charnley staying for another season. And if we've got Brand on the other wing, I think we can start looking to those positions even stronger, because Brand's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant, and he's just a joy to watch. He really is.
No, I've really enjoyed Keenan Brand this season. I think he's done himself no harm whatsoever. And we know, of course, underneath him, he's even more talent, the likes of AJ Townsend and the likes. And I think that, again, has been a real positive for Leigh this year, that it's not just the here and now, it's that planning for the future that they're able to do, which I think long-term is going to stand them in very, very good stead indeed. Tom Amone, great to see him back at the LSV tonight. Unfortunately, of course, didn't get to see out the game, which I think is a real shame. I mean, again, I'd be relying on Steph to. I don't know if Tom was able to walk around the pitch at the end, and because I think there are a lot of Leigh fans that was hoping to see Tom do almost a lap of honour, coming back to the stadium for the first time in a year. But not the way that you or anybody would have liked to have seen his homecoming to Leigh, was it?
No, I really felt for him tonight. He is one of the toughest guys out there. And for that look on his face when he was going off the field, that's didn't look good. I was really looking forward to seeing him tonight and watching the battle between him and Mulhern, especially. Unfortunately, that didn't play out for very long. One of my favorite all-time Leithers of recent years, the effort and passion he put into our shirt when he was at Leigh, fantastic. When we didn't sign him, I was really quite down until I saw Joffa. Joffa's just a massive, great unit as well. He's going to go great at Hull KR. We've not seen the best Tom Amone at Cass.
No.
But part of that is the team around you. You can't be that. You can't be individually a standout prop forward every week when you don't have those backups around you. He will be great at OKR next season. The preseason, the team around him, and the effort that he will put in, week out. He'll be a starting front row, and I think he'll be again one of those top level front rows next season. But I really feel for him. That didn't look good tonight. It didn't look like a
Well, he struggled to
one of
get the
those
boot off.
short impacts. Yeah.
He struggled to get
Was
the
there
boot.
any update?
I've
Was there
seen
any
nothing
update,
yet.
Dave?
No, I would expect that's a scam. The way the pain that he looked in, the difficulty getting the boot off, I would expect that he's probably they'll need to scan that to see the extent of the injury. But look, I mean, nobody waxed more lyrical about Tom Ramone for the 2 seasons at Leigh than I did. He was arguably over those 2 seasons the best prop in Super League. We know he's got it in his locker. It's not been a great year at Castleford. Maybe the fact that he knows it wasn't a long-term project, it's got to affect your mentality. He doesn't need to impress anybody because he's going to KR. He knows he's going to KR. But I think the interesting point that you made there about Joffa, and this is quite a statement, and and I'm not saying that this statement is true, but at this moment in time, I think as much as Tom Ramone is a cult hero at Leigh, the way Joffa's played this year, they probably want Joffa over him. Now, that could bite next year, because if Tom Ramone reaches the heights he can, I would retract that pretty quickly, because we haven't seen Joffa do what Tom has done consistently over a long period of time. But just based on this season, Leigh won't be too disheartened with the fact that they didn't get him back.
No, I think they're going to be okay with that. I mean, it would be nice to get both, in an ideal world. And certainly it would be nice for him not to be wearing a Hull KR shirt in a game next year against us, because I think he's going to be right up there. I think Joffa has got more improvement in him potentially than Tom. Tom can get back to that same level. I think Joffa is potentially going to be at that level, or maybe slightly above. The big thing that I've seen different with Amon more than anything else is his ability to take a tackle, roll, and give the ball out again. The first impact hasn't been quite as strong, and his propensity for offloading hasn't been quite as productive. But that again could be to do with what's around him and the fact that he's been looking for it early in his time at Cass, and the players just weren't there. And then he was getting into a situation where he was having to take his back as opposed to taking his forward, and going down in the tackle. So, yeah, I don't think he's quite been on his game full stop since he's come to Cass, but he'll be right up there. But I think Joffa's right there with him as well, and I'm super excited because a full season under his belt, a full off season for Joffa, and then back into what we're hearing is going to be an even stronger squad next year for Leigh. If the rumors I'm hearing are true, and the little inklings that Lammy's been dropping over the last week or two, I'm really excited to see Joffa go. And if you said to me, who do you take? You have to take just one, and you look 2-3 seasons ahead. I think Joffa's the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that whatsoever. You're doing really well here, Paul, because a lot of members are saying they're loving you on screen. Actually, they're actually talking transfers with the existing panel. So you must be doing very, very well indeed, my friend. Very high praise indeed. Steph out, Nixon out. It's all going on. It's all going on in the chat, mate. All going on in the chat. We'd love to have you on Final Whistle more, mate. We really, really would. And of course, next week, we may as well do that now to all the Leifers that are catching this live or catch it a little bit later. Hopefully the word gets out. Do share. The only phone in Super League, it's Super League Raw. We will be doing these after most games. We will probably do one on Saturday after the trilogy. We can't do one tomorrow because, of course, we're live at the stadium. But yeah, when we can, we will do them. So come on, have your say. This is not just for members. This is for everyone. Come and have your say. But next Saturday, the 6th of September, Leigh play Warrington at the HJ, the Bluebell, the home of Super League Raw. All you Leifers, more than welcome. We're going to be having fun, games. We're going to be live on YouTube. And a certain someone is coming all the way from Canada just to be there. Is that right, Paul?
Yeah. And if anybody is interested in ice hockey, I'm going to be bringing along a Vancouver Canucks ice hockey shirt that we can find some reason to give away in the pub, Dave. So
fantastic.
It's an extra large. It's not as extra large as I am, but it's an extra large. So it's there for somebody in the Bluebell before the game. We'll see how we can get rid of that shirt.
I'm sure we can get rid of that shirt one way or the other. Look, guys, it was always going to be interesting the first time. We had about 5 or 6 people come on. I think the more we do this, the more people have the bravery to come on. There's nothing to be feared about when it comes to Super League Raw. We embrace everybody. Everybody's opinion is respected. Yeah, so there you go. So the first ever full-time phone-in, it is 10 to 11 on a school night here in the UK. Do catch the next episode of this. Keep your eyes peeled on our social medias. We will be back more than likely on Saturday night after the trilogy. Some massive games on Saturday. Should be loads to talk about then. And Steph is also saying can't wait to meet Paul in the Bluebell next week. So all your Leifers, all your fellow Leifers, they'll be there to support you. And like I say, we will have a great time in the Bluebell. So we hope you've enjoyed the first ever Super League Raw phone-in. This is going to be a regular thing. So ladies and gentlemen, tell all your friends about it. If your team is playing on a Thursday night, on a Friday night, on a weekend, keep your eyes on our social medias. The only place to talk about it, to get your point across. Who knows, it might go viral. It might even get back to your club. Who'd have thought that? But anyway, on behalf of Paul, who's been absolutely fantastic, and everybody else tonight who was brave enough to come on for the first ever Super League Raw full-time phone-in, thank you very much indeed. We will be back soon. And here is what you've got to look forward to over the next 7 days from Super League Raw. Bye for now.
Good night, folks.